Okay, so today what we're going to do is we're going to briefly go over the time value of money, talk about it a little bit, and then we're going to do one example. So basically the time value of money is just the manipulation of money through time. You're either moving it backwards or forwards or rearranging the equations to find things like the discount rate or the number of periods. So that's really all it is. It's just an investment and you're just moving it through time to see what it's worth at that particular time. Next, and like I said, the future value, that's one of the components of it. It's what will the future amount on an investment be, and the verb we use with that is compounding. And here's the formula. It's the future value equals the present value times 1 plus the interest rate to the power of the number of periods. And it's good to know and understand the formulas, but it's a lot easier if you use the financial function on your calculator, which we'll look at in a little bit. And the present value is very similar, except this time we're going through time and we're coming to the present value, and it's how much an investment is worth today to have some future amount or some future claim on cash flows. The verb used with this is discounting, and it's commonly used, as is the future value, for things like stocks, bonds, and capital budgeting projects. And the formula for the present value is just the future value divided by 1 plus the discount rate, or you could call that the interest rate, to the power of the number of periods. It's just simply rearranging, and it's good to understand the equation and maybe work out some simpler problems with that just so you have a grasp of what it implies. Alrighty, one thing that some people can get a little confused with at first is just using the calculator and knowing everything to put in and whatnot. So we'll briefly go over that. In is the number of years, or a better way to say that is the number of periods. So just the number of time periods and what's the investment is going to be. And I/Y, that's the rate commonly, or the interest rate, the discount rate. And then PV is present value, FV is future value, and PMT is payment. And one thing which can get a little confusing, especially when you have a present value and a future value already in there and you're not necessarily solving for them or with the payments, is you need to remember to keep cash outflows with a negative sign and inflows positive. You need to put yourself in the perspective that the investment is coming to you, or you're kind of the center of the problem, and just ask yourself, is that a cash inflow to me, or is that a cash outflow? Sometimes that can help. All right, and now we're briefly going to go over a problem. And what's the present value of $700 in 8 years discounted at a rate of 5%? All right, so very simply, the number of periods is 8 years. And so we put 8 in our calculator, and then for the discount rate, we're going to put 5. And notice, too, that with most financial calculators, at least most of the ones I've seen, you don't put 0.05, you just put 5% because it's already, the function already has it in percent. And then we're solving for the present value, so we're going to leave that blank. And then for the future value, it's going to be $700. And for the payment, well, there is no payment, so you have to leave that 0. And sometimes if you get an answer that just doesn't seem right or something, always make sure and go back and check that you cleared your calculator and maybe you left the payment from a previous problem, and then that'll give you a wrong answer. It needs to be at 0. So then whenever we do this, we end up getting, so the present value of this investment would be $473.79. And one thing to really get good at and just to keep in mind is that, the story can change what's going on. Is it an investment, is it a bond? The concept is still the same. It's really just recognizing what you're solving for, what you're looking for, and what you're given, regardless of what the story says, whether it's, you're saving for a car, you're depositing money in a bank, you're buying a stock. So anyways, I hope that helped. And if you need additional help, I have in-person tutoring through the class website, and I have e-tutoring for a select class. So good luck.